Hi guys, this is Manohar and welcome to Tutoralz. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the topic meeting in the speed, time and distance. Actually, this is the fifth part of speed, time and distance. If you haven't watched the previous parts, I recommend you to please watch previous parts of the speed, time and distance, so that you can come to know what is the concept of speed, time and distance and also how to solve the problems based on the speed, time and distance. Okay, now in this video, we are going to discuss about the topic meeting in the speed, time and distance. Actually, this meeting is completely based on the relative speed concept. In the previous tutorial itself, we have already discussed the concept of chasing, right? Now, the concept of chasing and also meeting will be exactly same, but there is a minor difference. In the chasing, the both persons travel in the same direction. Okay, but when it comes to meeting, the both persons travel towards each other and also they want to meet each other. Okay, now I will take one example and explain you what is the concept of meeting, and then we can move to some basic level problems. Okay, now let's take one example. Suppose assume that there is one person here. Okay, there is one person here and there is another person here. Now, the both persons want to meet each other. Okay, this is the first person and this is the second person. Now, the both persons want to meet each other. Now, in order to meet each other, the first person is traveling towards the second person and second person is traveling towards the first person. That is in the opposite direction. Okay, assume that the first person is traveling with a speed of x km per hour and the second person is y km per hour. Okay, here the both persons want to meet each other. That is then the both persons are traveling in the opposite direction. That is first person toward the second person and second person toward the first person. Okay, now in the previous tutorial, that is in the chasing, when both persons are traveling in the same direction, the relative speed became the difference of the first and second person speed. Okay, but here both persons are traveling in the opposite directions. That's the reason the relative speed becomes the addition of the both first and second person speed. Okay, the relative speed becomes the addition of the both first and second person speed. Okay, x plus y km per hour. Now I will explain you why did I write this x plus y km per hour when both persons are traveling in the opposite directions in the meeting. Okay, see here, suppose assume that there is one person here and there is another person here. Now initial distance between first and second person is 10 kilometers. Okay, suppose assume that the distance between the first and second person is 10 kilometers initially. Now after 1 hour, okay, now first person traveled for 1 hour and second person also traveled for 1 hour. Now in this 1 hour, the first person completed a distance of 2 kilometers. Okay, in the same way, the second person have completed a distance of 3 kilometers. Okay, now the second person is here and the first person is here. What is the final distance between the first and second person? Only 5 kilometers now. Because 2 plus 3, that is 5 kilometers is already completed by first and second person. Okay, now what exactly happening here? That is, both speeds of the first and second person are adding and also completing the distance between them so that they can meet each other. Okay, here the both persons are completing the distance, that is reducing the distance between them so that they can meet each other. Now in order to reduce the distance, the both speeds of the first and second persons are adding together. Okay, that's the reason we are adding both speeds of the first and second person in the meeting, that is when both persons are traveling in the opposite directions. Okay, actually this is the exact reason why we add both the speeds of first and second person in the relative speed when it comes to meeting. That is when both persons are traveling in the opposite directions. Okay, so whenever they will give the both persons are meeting together, the relative speed becomes the addition of the first and second person speed. Okay, now this is the most important thing you need to remember when it comes to meeting. Now there is also another most important thing you need to remember when it comes to meeting. In the previous tutorial, that is in the chasing, I have already told you at the point of catching or overtaking, the time taken will be same in the both cases. Okay, in the meeting concept also, at the point of meeting, the time taken for the first and second person will be same. Okay, see here, the second point you need to remember is time taken will be same in the both cases. Okay, suppose assume that there is one person here and there is another person here. Now first person is traveling toward the second person and second person is traveling toward the first person. Suppose assume that this is the meeting point of first and second person. Okay, now the time taken for the first person to reach this point and the time taken for the second person to reach this point will be same in the both cases. Okay, in the chasing topic, at the point of catching or at the point of overtaking, the time taken will be same in the both cases. Right? Now in the meeting concept also, the time taken for the first person to reach this point and the second person to reach this meeting point will be same. Okay, so these are the most important things you need to remember when it comes to meeting. The one thing is relative speed becomes the addition of the both speeds of first and second person when traveling in the opposite direction. And another point is the time taken for the first person to meet the second person and the time taken for the second person to meet first person will be same in the both cases. That is T1 equal to T2. Okay, so these are the most important things you need to remember when it comes to meeting. If you understand these 2 points, you can simply solve any kind of problems based on the meeting. Okay, now let's solve some basic level problems so that you can come to know how to solve the problems based on these concepts. Okay, now in this meeting topic also we will solve the problems by using two methods. One is relative speed and another one is equating time or normal method. Okay, relative speed is nothing but the addition of both first and second person speed when they are meeting each other. Equating time is nothing but I have already told you when both persons are meeting each other, the time taken will be same in the both cases. So we will solve the problems by equating the time in both cases. Okay, so these are the two methods we use to solve the problems based on the meeting. Okay, now let's see the first problem. They are saying that two persons started running simultaneously around a circular track of length 300 meters from the same point at the speeds of 15 km per hour and 25 km per hour. When will they meet for the first time anywhere on the track if they are moving in the opposite directions? So we need to find out at what time the both persons will meet in the circular track. Okay, see here they have given the total length of the track, that is distance equal to 300 meters. Okay, and also they have given the both speeds of the first and second person, that is suppose assume that A equal to 15 km per hour and B equal to 25 km per hour. Okay, and what they are saying is these both persons are traveling in the opposite directions. Then if both persons are traveling in the opposite direction, the relative speed is nothing but the addition of both first and second person speed. Okay, now speed will become 15 plus 25 km per hour, that is nothing but 15 plus 25, 40 km per hour. Okay, now in the answers it is given in the form of seconds. So we need to convert this kilometer per hour to meter per second. Okay, how can we convert this? By multiplying 40 with 5 by 18. So we will get 2 9s 18, 2 20s 40 equal to 100 by 9 meter per second. Okay, now we need to find out at what time the both persons, that is A and B, will meet in the circular path. Okay, so speed equal to distance by time. So we already know what is the speed, that is 100 by 9 meter per second equal to distance is 300 meters. 300 meters by time. So we will cancel 100 ones, 100 threes. So I will get T equal to 9 into 3, that is 27 seconds. Okay, so after 27 seconds, the both persons, that is A and B, will meet in the circular track. Okay, now let's see how to solve the same problem using this equating time or normal method. Okay, so they have given the total length of the track is, that is distance equal to 300 meters. Now the speed of first person, that is A equal to 15 km per hour. Now the speed of second person, that is B equal to 25 km per hour. Okay, now we need to find out what is the time taken for both the persons to meet. Okay, now I have already told you when the both persons are meeting each other, the time taken will be same in the both cases. Now we can solve the problem by equating the time in the both cases. Okay, now T1 equal to T2. Now T1 is the time taken for the first person to meet the second person. Okay, now T1 equal to D1 by S1 equal to D2 by S2. What is the distance by the first person? We don't know what is the distance traveled by first person in this 300 meters. Okay, remember this 300 meters is the total length of the circular track. Okay, but we don't know what is the distance traveled by person 1 to meet the second person. So I am keeping it as D1 and keeping it as D2. Okay, now see here, what is the speed of first person? That is D1 by 15 km per hour equal to D2 by 25 km per hour. Now we need to convert this 15 km per hour to meter per second. How can we convert this? By multiplying with 5 by 18. So D1 by 15 into 5 by 18 and equal to D2 by 25 into 5 by 18. Okay, 5 by 18 and 5 by 18 will be cancelled and 5 3 is 15, 5 5 is 25. So we will get D1 by D2 equal to 3 by 5. Okay. Now we have got D1 by D2 equal to 3 by 5. That means the both persons will meet together when the first person completes the 3 parts of the total distance and the second person travels the 5 parts of the total distance. Okay, see here, try to understand this. We have got D1 by D2 equal to 3 by 5, right? Now D1 is nothing but the total distance travelled by the first person to meet the second person. In the same way, D2 is nothing but the total distance travelled by second person to meet the first person, right? Now what they are saying is after completing 3 parts of the total distance, first person will meet second person. In the same way, the second person will meet the first person only after completing 5 parts of the total distance. Now what is the total distance here? That is 300 meters. Now 300 meters is nothing but the total 3 parts and also 5 parts. There is totally 8 parts in this 300 meters. Okay, see here I will explain you once again. the d1, that is distance travelled by the first person to meet the second person. d2 is nothing but distance travelled by the second person to meet the first person, right? Now, after completing 3 parts of the total distance, the first person will meet the second person. Okay, now total distance is 300 meters. So there is totally, first person is completing 3 parts and second person is completing 5 parts. So there is totally 8 parts in this 300 meters. Now we need to find out what is the distance travelled by the first person, that is only 3 parts. Okay, see here, out of 8 parts, 3 parts is travelled by the first person, that is into, what is the total distance, that is 300. So we will get 4 2s, 4 7s, 28 and 4 5s, 20. So 75 into 3, that is 225 by 2. So this is the total distance travelled by the first person to meet the second person. Now we need to find out what is the time taken by first person to complete this distance. That is, we know speed equal to distance by time. Now what is the speed of first person? That is 15 km per hour. We need to convert this speed into meter per second. So 15 into 5 by 18 equal to, what is the distance? That is 225 by 2 by time. Okay, so we will cancel this 3 5s 15 and 3 6 18 and 5 1s 5 4s 20 and 5 5s 25, and also we can cancel 5 1s 5 9s 45. So we will get 2 1s 2 3s. So t equal to 9 into 3, that is 27 seconds. Okay, now I will explain you once again, try to understand this. See here, we have equated timings in the both cases. Okay, now d equal to 300 meters is the total distance of the circular track. Okay, now d equal to 300 meters is the total distance of the circular track. Suppose assume that A have started here and B have started here. Now suppose assume that this is the meeting point. Okay, now we don't know what is the distance travelled by A before meeting B and what is the distance travelled by B before meeting A. So I am assuming the total distance travelled by A is d1 and total distance travelled by B is d2. Okay, now after solving we have got d1 by dt equal to 3 by 5. Okay, now suppose assume that this is the total distance. Now A is completing only d1, that is 3 parts of the total distance. Now B is completing only d2, that is 5 parts of the total distance. Okay, now what is the total distance? That is totally 300 meters. That is nothing but 3 plus 5, that is totally 8 parts in the 300 meters. Now A is completing only 3 parts and B is completing only 5 parts. Now A equal to, that is 3 parts equal to 225 by 2. Now what is the time taken by A to complete this 225 by 2 distance? That is only 27 seconds. Okay, now within 27 seconds A and B will meet each other at this point. Okay, now let's see the second problem. They are saying that 2 bike riders ride in opposite directions around a circular track, starting at the same time and same point. Biker A rides at a speed of 16 km per hour and biker B rides at a speed of 14 km per hour. If the track has a diameter of 40 km, after how much time will the 2 bikers meet? So we need to find out what is the time taken for both of them to meet each other. Okay, see here they are given the total diameter of the circular track is 40 kilometers. Okay, so this is the diameter. Okay, this is the diameter, 40 kilometers. Now we need to find out what is the total length of the circular track. That is, what is the total formula of the circumference of the circle? That is, circumference of the circle equal to pi d. What is the value of pi? That is 22 by 7 into 40. So this is the total length of the circular track. Okay, now what they are saying is biker A is riding at a speed of 16 km per hour. Now biker B is riding at a speed of 14 km per hour. Okay, now what is the relative speed? That is, both are traveling in the opposite directions. So the relative speed is nothing but the addition of both A and B speeds. Okay, so relative speed equal to 16 plus 14 kilometers, that is 30 km per hour. Okay, this is the total relative speed of A and B. Now we need to find out what is the time taken for both of them to meet each other. Okay, speed equal to distance by time. Now what is the speed here? 30 km per hour equal to distance is 22 by 7 into 40. 7 into 40. So we need to find out what is the total time. Okay, so if I cancel this 3 0 and 0, so I will get time equal to 22 into 4, that is 88 by 7 into 3, that is 21. So we will get 21 into 4 will be 84, and there will be 4 here and 1, and there will be 19 and 190. 21 into 9, that is 189. So we will get and so on 4.19 hours. Okay, so this is the total time taken by A and B to meet each other around a circular track. Okay, now let's see how to solve the same problem using this equivalent time or normal method. Okay, see here they have given the diameter of the total circular track is 40 kilometers. Okay, then what is the total length of circular track? That is circumference of the circle equal to pi d. So we will get 22 by 7 into 40. So this is the total length of the circular track. Now what they have given is biker A riding at a speed of 16 km per hour and biker B riding at a speed of 14 km per hour. Okay, now we need to find out what is the time taken for A and B to meet each other. Now suppose assume that this is a total circular track and suppose assume that A is starting here and B is starting here. Now we don't know what is the distance travelled by B and what is the distance travelled by A before meeting each other. Okay, so I am assuming the total distance travelled by A is d1 and B is d2. Okay, now since they are meeting each other, we can simply equate the both timings in both cases. Okay, now what is T1 here? Distance travelled by A, that is d1 by speed of A, that is 16 km per hour. In the same way, distance travelled by B, that is d2 by 14 km per hour. So we will get 2 8s and 2 7s. d1 by d2 equal to 8 by 7. Okay, so distance travelled by A, that is 8 parts of the total distance and B is 7 parts of the total distance. Okay, in the total distance, A is covering 8 parts and B is covering 7 parts before meeting each other. Okay, now there is totally 15 parts in the total distance, that is 8 plus 7. Okay, 15 parts is total distance, that is 22 by 7 into 40. Okay, so there is totally 8 plus 7, that is 15 parts in the total distance. Now we need to find out what is the distance covered by A, that is only 8 parts. Okay, out of 15 parts, A is covering 8 parts into 22 by 7 into 40. So we will get 5 3s 15 and 5 8s 40. So what is the total distance covered by A? That is 8 into 22 into 8 by 7 into 3. Okay, so this is the total distance covered by A. Now we need to find out what is the time taken for A to cover this distance. That is speed equal to distance by time. Okay, now what is the speed of A? That is 16 kilometers equal to distance is 8 into 22 by 7 into 3 by total time. Okay, now if I cancel this, I will get 8 ones, 8 to 16 and 2 ones, 2 4s. And also 4 into 22, that is 88 total time equal to, okay, 88 by 21, that is 4.19 hours. Okay, so this is the total time taken by A and B to meet each other. Okay, now let's see the third problem. They are saying that Akash leaves Mumbai at 6 am and reaches Bangalore at 10 am. Prakash leaves Bangalore at 8 am and reaches Mumbai at 11:30 am. At what time do they cross each other? So we need to find out what is the total time taken by Akash and Prakash to meet each other, that is to cross each other. Okay, see here what they have given is, suppose assume that this is the Mumbai and this is the Bangalore. Okay, now what they are saying is Akash is starting at Mumbai and Prakash is starting at Bangalore. Okay, now suppose assume that the total distance between the Mumbai and Bangalore is d kilometers. They didn't give what is the exact distance, so I am assuming the total distance as d kilometers. Okay, now what they have given is Akash is starting at Mumbai at 6 am and reaching Bangalore at 10 am. Now what is the total time taken by Akash to cover the total distance? That is Akash takes totally 4 hours to complete the total distance, that is 6 am and 10 am. Right? Now what is the total speed of Akash? That is speed equal to distance by time. Now what is the total distance? That is d kilometers by total time is 4 hours. So d by 4 is the total speed of Akash. In the same way, Prakash is starting at Bangalore at 8 am and reaching Mumbai at 11:30 am. Okay, now what is the total time taken by Prakash to complete the total distance? That is 3.5 hours. This is also be written as 7 by 2 hours. Okay, now what is the total speed of Prakash? That is d by 7 by 2 equal to 2d by 7. This is the total speed of Prakash and this is the total speed of Akash. Now we need to find out what is the total time taken by Akash and Prakash to meet each other. Okay, see here, speed equal to distance by time. Now what is speed here? That is both persons are travelling in the opposite directions. So the relative speed is the addition of both Akash speed and also Prakash speed. Okay, see here, d by 4 plus 2d by 7 equal to, we will get what is the total distance. Now see here, whenever there is a meeting, we need to consider distance when both persons are starting at same time. But here Akash is starting at 6 am and Prakash is starting at 8 am. Okay, see here, Akash is starting at 6 am and Prakash is starting at 8 am. Okay, we need to consider distance when both persons are starting at same time. Since Prakash is starting at 8 am, we need to consider distance only after Akash started at 8 am. Okay, but here Akash is starting at 6 am. Now we need to find out what is the distance left over after Akash starting at 8 am and Prakash also starting at 8 am. Okay, for that we need to find out first of all what is the distance completed by Akash up to 8 am. Okay, see here, try to understand this. Here we need to consider distance when both persons are starting at same time. Now Prakash is starting at 8 am and Akash is starting at 6 am. Now we need to consider distance when Akash also started at 8 am. Okay, for that we need to find out what is the distance completed by Akash up to 8 am. That is, for the total distance, Akash takes 4 hours to complete the distance. Okay, now up to 2 hours, that is 6 to 8 am, what is the distance travelled by Akash? That is only half of the distance. Okay, to cover the total distance, Akash totally takes 4 hours. Now in 2 hours, Akash can complete only half of the distance, that is d by 2. Now what is the distance left over? Only d by 2 distance. Okay, now here distance is equal to d by 2. That is when both persons are started at same time, that is 8 am and 8 am. Okay, now see here total distance is d by 2 and total time is t here. Now we will get the LCM of 4 and 7, that is 28, and d by 4 into 28, that is 7d plus 2d by 7 into 28, that is 7 4 28, 2 4 8. 8d equal to d by 2t. Okay, so we will get 2 ones, 2 14s, and 7 plus 8, that is 15d by 14 equal to d by t. D and d will be cancelled and we will get t equal to 14 by 15. Okay, this 14 by 15 is in the form of hours, but we need to convert this 14 by 15 into the form of minutes. How can we convert them? By multiplying it by 60. So we will get 15 ones, 15 4 60 and 14 4 56. 56 minutes. So both A and Akash and Prakash will meet after 56 minutes. Okay, now Akash and Prakash are starting at 8 am, right? Now after 56 minutes, that is, they both meet at 8:56 am. Now let's see how to solve the same problem using this equating time method. Okay, see here what they have given is Akash is starting at Mumbai and Prakash is starting at Bangalore. Okay, now let's assume the total distance between the Mumbai and Bangalore is d kilometers. Okay, now what they are saying is Akash is starting at Mumbai at 6 am and reaching Bangalore at 10 am. Now what is the total time taken by Akash to cover the total distance? That is 4 hours, right? Now Akash will complete the total distance in 4 hours. Okay, now what is the speed of Akash? That is total distance by total time, that is d by 4. Now in the same way, Prakash is taking totally 3.5 hours to cover the total distance. Now this can also be written as 7 by 2 hours. Now what is the speed of Prakash? That is total distance by total time taken, that is 7 by 2. So we will get 2d by 7. Now this is the speed of Prakash and this is the speed of Akash. Now we need to find out what is the total time taken by Akash and Prakash to meet each other. Okay, since they are meeting each other, we can simply equate the timings in both cases, t1 equal to t2. And I have already told you, we will consider the distance only when both persons are starting at same time. Here also, Prakash is starting at 8 am and Akash is starting at 6 am. But we will consider distance only Akash also starting at 8 am. Okay, now up to 8 am, Akash will complete d by 2 of the total distance. Okay, now what is the distance left over? That is d by 2. Okay. Now in this d by 2, we don't know what is the distance covered by Akash and also what is the distance covered by Prakash to meet each other. So I am assuming the total distance covered by Akash is d1 and covered by Prakash is d2. Okay, see here, d1 by total speed of Akash, that is d by 4, equal to d2 by total speed of Prakash, that is 2d by 7. So we will get d and d will be cancelled and we will get 4 to 8 and d1 by d2 equal to 7 by 8. Okay, so at the time of meeting, Akash will cover 7 parts of the total distance and Prakash will cover 8 parts of the total distance. So there is totally 7 plus 8. There is totally 15 parts in the d by 2 distance. Okay, this is only half of the distance, right? So there is totally 15 parts in this d by 2 distance. Now we need to find out what is the total time taken by Akash to cover the 7 parts of the total distance. Okay, see here, to cover 15 parts, Akash takes 2 hours. Now to cover the 7 parts, what is the time taken for Akash? See here, Akash totally takes 4 hours to complete the total distance. Now here, only half part of the distance is considered, right? Now to cover the half part of the distance, Akash takes only 2 hours, right? Now d by 2 is nothing but 15 parts of the total distance, right? Now to cover the 15 parts, Akash takes only 2 hours. Now we need to find out what is the time taken for 7 parts of the total distance. See here, 7 into 2 by 15. Now this is in the form of hours. We need to convert it into the minutes. How can we convert them? By multiplying with 60. So we will get 15 ones, 15 fours and 7 twos 14, 14 fours 56. 56 minutes. So after 56 minutes, Akash and Prakash will meet each other. After 56 minutes in the sense, they are starting at 8 am. So 8 am plus 56 minutes. So they will meet at 8:56 am. Okay. Now see here, the one thing you need to remember in this question is, we will only consider distance when both persons are starting at same time. Here Akash is starting at 6 am and Prakash is starting at 8 am. Okay. So we need to consider distance when Akash also starting at 8 am. Okay, that's the reason we are considering only d by 2 part of the distance, because d by 2 part of the distance is already completed by Akash up to 8 am. Okay, so this is the small logic in this question. That's the reason try to read the question very carefully and also try to understand it. If you don't understand the question, you will get the wrong answer and also you will lose all the time in the exams. Okay, and that's it for this video. Try to solve more and more problems based on this meeting concept, so that you can come to know how to solve the problems in different situations. Okay, and for more tutorials like this, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.